وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الله به الغمة وجاهد في سبيل ربه حتى أتاه اليقين. اللهم اجزه عنا وعن والدينا وعن الإسلام والمسلمين خير ما جازيت به نبيا عن قومه ورسولا عن أمته. اللهم احينا على سنته وتوفنا على ملته وأوردنا حوضه واسقنا من ياجه الشريفة شربة هنيئة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا. اللهم اجمع بيننا وبينه كما آمنا به ولم نره ولا تفرق بيننا وبينه حتى تدخلنا مدخله. ثم أما بعد. Last Friday we were talking about how authority or love of authority can make people commit heinous crimes even against their loved ones because simply they may be potential opponents who demand part of this authority. It's one of the desires that destroyed nations and empires and families. Authority can definitely change people. Give someone absolute authority, pious, righteous person, then most probably he will be a corrupt person. And one of the things we know about money and authority is that it's never enough. Money and wealth increase, and we need more. There's no point where someone said, okay, I have enough now, that's enough, I don't need any more wealth. Authority is like this. Those who are in authority or love authority and can do anything for authority, they need more authority and more authority. And they look at any potential threat as an enemy, even if he is his brother, father, sister, whatever. Julius Caesar or Caesar was afraid that his wife, Livia, would kill him. He was afraid of her because he was afraid that he wanted her son to be the king, Tobias. And he never ate from her hand. Any food that she prepares, he does not eat until the servants of the palace eat from it. Even the fruits that he liked to go and pick it up from his garden himself. Eventually, she managed to inject some of these fruits with poison, and he ate from it, and he died. And her son, Tobias, after whom the name of the lake Tabaria is named. He became the king, and he adopted actually a grandson, Caligula. His adopted grandson and his mother actually plotted against him, and they ordered some soldiers to stab him to death. So Caligula also died because of authority. And the people around the emperor, they appointed Claudius, who was a philosopher and writer. But the same thing happened to Claudius. He was also poisoned by his wife in order for her son, Neron, to become the emperor. And you all know Neron, the one who burned Rome. Richard the Lion King, when I was in Oxford, I saw the flag and I asked about this, said that it looks like the Crusaders, they said, yep, because he was the king of Oxford after he killed his father. His father was the king of this Oxfordshire area, and he killed his father and he became the king of England. Our history is not far from this. It is unfortunate. Of course, there are so many things in our history that we are proud of, but to show that love of authority is a curse, we need to read our history and understand what happened. and why it happened this way and why things happen this way. You need to understand our local, national, international events, why things happen like this. Why people are so eager to gain and stay in power, and for this sake they can do anything, literally anything. In our history also we have so many bad stories. And again, I'm not trying to paint our history with, with like a wide brush, negative image, but that's a fact. We need to learn from what went right and what went wrong. So many crimes of this nature happened. We talked about killing of Hussein last week, and how for the sake of staying in power and authority, Al-Kaaba was thrown with stones and burned, and Medina was invaded in the name of caliphate and establishing security and safety and legitimacy. The Umayyads actually ruled for 90 years, and then they were massacred very badly by the Abbasids, or supposed to belong to Al-Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet. So people felt, okay, now family of the Prophet is coming to authority. Now we'll have again Khilafah Rashida and things like that, but that was far from the truth. It was the same thing Umayyads did, Abbasids did, and worse, or if not worse. Just a few examples. Al-Khayzuran is a name of a lady. Up until today, she built a big mosque, by the way, beautiful big mosque and cemetery. And this cemetery is known today in Baghdad as Al-Khayzuran Cemetery. It has another name, Al-A'zamiyya, because Imam Al-A'zam Abu Hanifa was buried there. She has many awqaf, endowments, buildings and schools and cemeteries and so on. She was the wife of the Caliph Al-Hadi, and she was the mother of Al-Mahdi and Harun al-Rashid. And she was very aggressive, and one day one of the assistants of Al-Hadi, the Caliph, saw him like sitting sad and said, what's the matter? And he said, my wife just, was crying and screaming on my face and saying that how stingy you are. She needs more properties. And he gave her so much properties and lands and money and jewelry and so on. And she loved Harun, her son, the younger one, than her older son, Al-Mahdi. So she told Al-Hadi, her husband, that he should make a decision that the crown prince is Harun, not Al-Mahdi. Because Al-Mahdi has strong personality. He was a brave general in the army. And Al-Hadi agreed, but before he wrote this will, he died. And all affairs almost went not to Al-Mahdi, her older son, but to her. The generals and ministers would come to her, getting her signature and permission of doing things. And Al-Mahdi not like that. He said, Mom, that's not appropriate. You should be busy with doing something, like reading Quran, something like this. But the affairs of the state, which was a huge state at that time, should be run by the next caliph. She did not like that. And he threatened that if I saw any general or a minister comes entering your place, he would be punished. And she did not like that, obviously. Harun was more beloved, obedient to his mother Al-Khayzuran. And so eventually she ordered some of her servants to throttle him while asleep. He was suffocated and he died. And then Harun became Harun al-Rashid, the most famous Abbasid caliph. This is how Harun al-Rashid became the caliph. after the killing of his brother Al-Mahdi, by the order of his mother. So a mother killed her son to practically stay in power. But when Harun comes, she has much more power, and she had so much power in the time of Harun al-Rashid. When she died, before she reached 50, Harun actually went barefooted for her janazah, and he was crying and led the janazah prayer, and he was sitting, and then he called Al-Fadl ibn Rabi' and he gave him the seal and the ring of the prime ministry. And he told him, Wallahi, I wanted to give it to you years ago, but my mom refused that. She wants to be in power and authority, and she wants to be the decision maker. And when Harun al-Rashid died, we all know the story. He had two sons, Al-Ma'mun and Al-Amin. And again, once he died, Al-Ma'mun has part of the army, and Al-Amin had another part of the army, and the two armies were fighting for years until eventually Al-Ma'mun was successful and he became the caliph. The Ottoman Empire, there are many dark chapters, unfortunately, when it comes to holding authority. We know Murad al-Thalith, Murad III, he married Safiya from Valencia, and he loved her so much, and she gave birth to Muhammad al-Thalith, the third. Safiya and her son Muhammad al-Thalith ordered soldiers to kill Muhammad's 18 siblings. So when Murad died, now Muhammad, the son of Safiya, had 18 brothers and sisters from different wives. On the same day Murad died, all these siblings were summoned and they were massacred in one place, so that Muhammad, her son, becomes the only sultan. You have to understand that the people in authority will not show justice to you. They will not show you justice. If someone killed his son and his brothers and sisters and fathers, don't expect them to be so nice and just and fair to you, because who are you? Sulaiman al-Qanuni was known as one of the strongest sultan in the Ottoman Empire. And he did so many good things, so many good things. But when it comes also to authority, he did terrible things. One of which is that he married to a slave, actually her name is Rukhsana, Rukhsaliana or Rukhsana, which means the Russian. She was Russian, so beautiful. She was the most beloved to him. She gave birth to Salim, Sultan Salim. Became Sultan Salim later on. But there was a problem. The problem is that Sulaiman al-Qanuni has oldest son Mustafa, and Mustafa was charismatic leader. He was very successful, victorious general, very brave, liked by people, by shuyukh and by the army. And he was the most qualified person to be the next sultan after the long life of Sulaiman al-Qanuni. And Rukhsana did not like that. She must get rid of Mustafa in order for her son Salim to be the next sultan. And she kept talking to Sulaiman al-Qanuni and tried to prove that Mustafa, his older son, is plotting against him. He has connections with the Persians, and he wants to get rid of his father to become the sultan. And Sulaiman al-Qanuni was convinced. And he actually called, Mustafa was far away from the Asatana. Sulaiman al-Qanuni was somewhere, and he ordered his son Mustafa to come. And some people close from the palace, they told Mustafa, don't go. We heard something. His wife Rukhsana actually is plotting against you. He may kill you. He said, even if I got killed by my father, it's an honor for me to be killed by the hand of my father. I have to go. My father called me and I have to go. And he went and he entered the tent of Sulaiman al-Qanuni, and he gave the signal, and the swords came on his head, and they killed him in front of his father. His older son was killed in such a manner. Now, there's another brother, his name is Bayazid. And Bayazid knew that it's his turn. And he actually took part of the army and he went far from the capital. And Sulaiman, who's still alive, and Salim, they sent an army that defeated him very badly. So Bayazid actually had to flee, ran away to a place of his friend Al-Safawi to seek protection there. So Sulaiman sent him 100,000 coin of gold, and Salim sent him 300,000 coins of gold. That's a total 400,000 coins of gold, huge money. In return, they asked As-Safawi to hand over Bayazid. Of course, he could not resist this huge amount of money. And he arrested his friend Bayazid and handed him over to Sulaiman al-Qanuni, who killed him and his 5 children, his grandchildren. So he killed his son Bayazid and his sons, 5 of them, all at once. To please Rukhsana, and Salim became the next sultan. These are just few examples of how history repeats itself. People are willing to do whatever it takes. So lying, comparing to what we just heard, is nothing. Breaking promises is nothing. Lying is a very simple sin comparing to killing innocent people like this. For a brother to kill 18 of his siblings, or a father to kill his older son and his second son and grandchildren. It happens all over, in all cultures. It's not just in Muslim history or Roman Empire. It happened all over. And we have seen in the modern time something like this. So we should not be surprised when we see like a person like Bashar al-Assad in Syria dropping chemical weapons to kill his own people. They don't show mercy to anyone, let alone those who are innocent and weak. They don't show mercy. Gain power, stay in power, do whatever it takes. And interestingly, everything is justified. We'll have some shuyukh telling him, yeah, it's okay to kill your brother for the sake of stability and avoid chaos. It's for the best interest of the country. It's okay to kill one person so the entire nation can live in peace. That is the justification. There is always justification for committing bad crimes. So history tells us that authority is one of the strongest desires people have, and people fight over authority, and for the sake of gaining power and authority, people are willing to do whatever it takes, commit crimes to gain power and to stay in power. Do we seek power? And sometimes, yeah, in workplace, within our limit, everybody wants to be in the highest authority. The household, husband and wife, they always fight over authority. Wife and mother-in-law, everybody wants to get bigger authority, all the way to the community leadership and to local leadership and the national leadership. Countries, everybody wants to gain more authority. And within any governance system, there are people who are fighting each other to get into the ladder of authority, to get a higher place in authority. And for the sake of doing this, they lie, they break promises, they make bad deals, evil deals. They give promises that they know full well that they cannot fulfill, but just to please people, to elect them. They know how to manipulate people, even in democracy. This happens. And this may help us understand that if we don't have really a good way of governance and involvement, all these massacres will happen over and over and over again. It will happen over and over. If we don't get involved, if we don't enjoin good and forbid evil. love of authority is not going to go away. It gets even more stronger. Now in the time of nuclear weapons and intelligent weapons, God knows. May Allah have mercy on all of us. What happens with these corrupt people fight for authority, for power, for money, for property. What kind of weapons they will use and what kind of damage they will cause to the entire world. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect all of us and to purify our hearts. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. عباد الله اتقوا الله وأطيعوه إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم اشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Before we end, just to have some good news. Alhamdulillah, MCC's received the approval from IRS as a 501c3 organization finally. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And inshallah, hopefully this will be inshallah beginning of more activities to come. However, we need some money to pay the lawyer who helped us for the last 3 years doing this. We owe them $1,500. So I ask you to please donate generously so that we can pay him this check. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك رزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. اللهم أصلح لنا ديننا الذي هو عصمة أمرنا. أصلح لنا دنيانا التي فيها معاشنا وأصلح لنا آخرتنا التي إليها معادنا. اللهم اجعل الحياة زيادة لنا في كل خير واجعل الموت راحة لنا من كل شر يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث. أصلح لنا يا رب شأننا كله. اللهم لا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة عين ولا إلى أحد من الناس يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين. اللهم انصر دينك وكتابك وعبادك الصالحين. اللهم كن مع إخواننا في غزة يا رب العالمين وفي رفح وفي الضفة الغربية وفي كل مكان من أرض فلسطين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين. اللهم كن لهم ناصرا ومعينا يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصرهم بنصرك وأيدهم بتأييدك وكن لهم نعم المولى ونعم النصير يا رب العالمين وأرحم الراحمين. وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أقم الصلاة.